If you know about white meat, Sir White Meat.
White meat? Who is Sir White Meat? For the fourth time, no trace can be found of anybody. There's one thing about Zakir Naik that makes people really think that he knows what he's talking about, and that's when he's able to share facts randomly and very quickly from the top of his head in such a manner that makes you think, wow, he is a really intelligent man. But a friend of mine sat down and went through a 5-minute talk of his once, and in that 5 minutes, he was able to make over 25 mistakes.
Charles Darwin went on an island by the name of Calotropis.
Look, you're already laughing, right? So notice it's an island,
Yeah.
and it's Calotropist. All right.
There is no such island as the Calotropist Islands anywhere. It was actually the Galapagos Islands that Darwin visited, where he found finches.
And there he found birds pecking at niches.
Jeez.
They're pecking at niches. I haven't seen this in a while, but this is awesome. Pecking at niches.
These finches do not peck at niches, as Naik says. They lived in separate ecological niches.
Depending upon the ecological niches they pecked, the beak kept on becoming long and short.
The differences Darwin observed between these finches were far more than simply beak length. They included differences in color, size, mating behavior, songs, and preferred food.
And that's not even how it works. He's saying that as they're pecking, their beak lengths are changing and so on. It's not. It's given various pressures in the ecosystem, birds that have beak shapes that help them in certain situations as things change are going to adapt better, and they're going to be the ones that survive more, and they're going to pass on more offspring than others.
Observation was made in the same species, not in different species.
Darwin's observations of varying beaks were made on 14 different species of finches, not just one, as Dr. Naik claims. The beak length actually did not vary within the species.
Charles Darwin wrote a letter to his friend Thomas Thompson.
All of Darwin's published correspondence is printed and even available electronically online, and it contains no record of anyone named Thomas Thrompton.
Charles Darwin himself said that there were missing links. He didn't agree with it.
Darwin admitted that there were missing links, but that does not mean he disagreed with his own theory. He simply predicted where the missing links would be found.
Mark II Tech here says the ozone layers. That's a pretty good quick summary of what this sounds like. But notice the parallels, right? Yeah. Ali Dawa is even sloppier than Zakir Naik, right? So he's even sloppier. You know, in other words, if you're Zakir Naik puts the deception level up to here to where you know, it will fool a certain number of people. Ali Dawa dials it up even more to where, you know, he doesn't think he has to have any idea of what he's talking about at all. He could just blurt stuff out, no matter how idiotic. But think about this. Why is that? Why is it that it got even worse to where Ali Dawa, oh, the 7 heavens, there's the 7 ozone layers, but I was talking to this guy and him say that there's only 6, yeah? So then we goes on Google and it says there be 5, yo, so we don't even know who's right here, so the argument has been debunked, yeah? Right? So that's him. But notice, it's Zakir Naik actually led to the current crisis in Dawa, because Zakir Naik is the one who showed all these guys, you want attention? Are you a narcissist? Would you like way, way, way more attention? Then come to the Zakir Naik School of Dawa, where you'll be trained to spout complete nonsense, knowing that your audience will cheer for you no matter what you say.
Man, that's good. That is good.
Powerful stuff.
What I don't understand is so Darwin sent a letter to someone named
Thomas Thrompton.
It was actually Thomas Thompson, I think. Thomas Thompson. How does he turn that into Thomas Thrompton?
It's Thrompton, man. Yeah, and notice these errors are of differing degrees. Sometimes it just looks like he has a general gist of the number of syllables in a name, and he just just rolls with the number of syllables or something. Kalipatros, Kalipatros Island sounds a lot like Galapagos Island. You can see why he'd be why a person like this would be impressed with Mahmadim in Song of Solomon. Mahmadim, that kind of sounds like Muhammad. So you see, Kalipatros Island. I don't know what to do here, man. All right.
The reason is because that if you analyze the church was against science previously.
The church was never against science. Almost all the great European scientists of Galileo's time, including Galileo, were devout Christians. People like Newton, Copernicus, Kepler, Boyle, Linnaeus, Pascal were all committed believers in the Bible.
No atheists there.
And you know the incidents that they sentenced Galileo to death. They sentenced Galileo to death.
Okay, this is now you're getting really dumb. They sentenced Galileo to death. Let's go.
Galileo, a devout Catholic, was never sentenced to death. He was sentenced to life imprisonment on June 22nd, 1633, and then that sentence was commuted to house arrest. He died more than 8 years later on the evening of January 8th, 1642, of old age. Galileo believed that his theories fit with the Bible, and he wrote a book arguing this based on early interpretations of Christians like Augustine. Knight goes on to make the same false statement two more times.
What's up?
The issue about the Galileo thing is that this is a very popular myth, right? I mean, you've probably heard that before. People think, they killed Galileo, they sentenced him to death, they did this and that to him. People believe that stuff, and it's one thing for random people to think that, because that myth somehow spread. I don't know how it spread, but it's
we know exactly how it spread. It was from some two guys in the 1800s who just massacred history. It was the same guys. It was the same two guys, and I would normally know their names. Man, I'm fried today. The two guys who spread it were the same guys who spread the idea that people in the Middle Ages believed that the Earth was flat.
Oh, okay.
They're like two people in the entire Middle Ages that you can find who thought that the Earth was flat. So all this stuff that the sailors with Columbus were scared they would sail off the edge of the world and stuff. No, it was never an issue. They understood it. You did have people who had wrong ideas about how big the Earth was and so on, but they regarded it as a globe for a long, long time before that. With Galileo, so these guys actually spread it. And what's interesting is they started off. Oh, Draper's one of them. Draper. Anyone know the other name? It was Draper. The name's popping into my head. Hey, there you go. Andrew Dixon White. That is it. It's Andrew Dixon White and Draper. But they popularized the idea, and one of them was, I forget which one now. It's been a while since I studied this, but one of them was the guy. He was doing it as a polemic against Catholic immigration, right? He didn't like Catholics. And so he was saying that the Catholic Church was always against science and Protestants are okay. He even praised, matter of fact, this was definitely Draper, because he praised Islam. He was basically praising anything that the Catholic Church had ever been in conflict with, to say why it's really bad here. But yeah, they came up with the Galileo affair. And in short, the Galileo affair, Galileo had signed an agreement. He'd signed a contract earlier on about some of his teachings. And he said, okay, I won't teach this theory anymore. And he signed that. And then later on, he became more and more popular. And the Pope, who the guy who became the new Pope, was actually friends with him. And he went to him and said, hey, you mind if I publish a book on my views of the heavenly motions and so on? And the Pope said, totally fine. Just include in there somewhere that since we're dealing with some topics where we have limited information, just keep it in there that there could be another theory which accounts for things even better. And Galileo said, okay. And then he puts the Pope's words, which are basically quotations from the Pope, in the mouth of an idiot. There are three characters. One of them is a complete moron. His name is Simplicio, like simpleton, right? So, and he puts the Pope's words in his mouth. Then it comes out, it gets to the Pope that Galileo had signed an agreement that he wouldn't do this, and that he tried to get around his contract by going to the Pope. And he makes the Pope look like an idiot in the book. And the Inquisition was going to give them this little slap on the wrist and say, just say that you inadvertently, that you forgot that you had agreed not to teach this anymore, and so you made a mistake. And that's it. And just say that. And then the Pope in this case said, no, he's actually really ticked me off, hem this guy up. And so house arrest. And somehow this gets put as, this is the example of the interaction between science and religion. This is it. This is what science and religion does. It's like all these other things, him breaking a contract, him basically spitting in the Pope's face. And
somebody said, so why did he get in trouble for when they already knew the Earth is not flat? That wasn't the point of him getting in trouble. No. It was about a heliocentric.
And by the way, this was a situation where the Pope was actually totally correct, right? So back then it was thought, it's a geocentric model versus a heliocentric model. So the Earth is the center of the universe versus the sun is the center of the universe. And the Pope is saying, hey, yeah, you can present your other theory, but be sure to mention that some other theory may come along that may account for the evidence even better. He was absolutely correct because both those models are false. Those are both false. All the stars are not going around the sun or the Earth.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you, Zakir Naik, for also helping spread the myth. But notice that he's got to dial it up into us. That's why he was sentenced to death.
But let's only count it as one factual error.
So all the scientists, most of them, they support the theory because it went against the Bible, not because it was true.
Actually, most scientists did not support Darwin's theory for many years, and most of these same scientists revered the Bible. Basically, this account by Dr. Naik is a total fabrication.
All the sages, Lucy, there were 4 hominids.
Everything Dr. Naik says here is wrong. There is no such word as hominites. He must mean hominids.
Science tells us.
Yeah, like I said, some of these are like dumb pronunciations where he gets the gist of the word. Hey, we have House of Hikmah there. Again, it's like a 12-year-old. But he says Galileo was a jerk, like David. That's actually entirely correct. He was Galileo, like his best ability was just like savagely mocking things. So people thought of him as a total jerk. But if you crossed him, he was just brilliant and witty at making you look like an idiot. But notice that built him up a lot of enemies over the years who wanted to take him down when they saw the chance eventually. Well,
there are a lot of people in history that we respect a lot and revere a lot who were like that. Most importantly, I would say Socrates,
Voltaire. Right? Yeah, Socrates. Yeah. All these guys are great at just ripping people apart and making
Socrates was a complete. People hated the guy. And they thought he's a dirty fool, an idiot. He's so annoying. But he was just brilliant at arguing and putting people in their place. And Voltaire, he had his way with words, and he was pretty harsh to people as well.
Yeah, Socrates. I mean, can you imagine like every person you respect as knowledgeable in society? Socrates shows up, makes him look like an idiot, and then people get so well. If you know so much, why don't you tell us what you think? And he says, I don't know anything. I just wanted to show that he doesn't. It's like annoying.
It's funny.
There's 4 hominids.
There are not a mere 4 hominids. There are at least 14.
First is Lucy, along with its guide, the Australopithecus.
This guy.
There is no such hominid as Dasnopithecus. Lucy was an Australopithecus afarensis.
Wow.
Which died about 3.5 million years, the Ice Age.
The Ice Age was not 3 1/3 million years ago. It was between 1.6 million years and 10,000 years ago.
Then next came the Homo sapiens. We died about 500,000 years ago.
He just said Homo sapiens.
Homo sapiens.
Said Homo sapiens, which is what we are. We're Homo sapiens. Now, think about this. I'm a medical doctor. Wait. Some of the stuff, I'm like, Calotropis Island. Okay, you should know that it's islands. You should know. Okay, maybe he heard it in his own. Maybe he heard it in Urdu, and they pronounce it different. You're trying to justify it, but then it's like, okay, you're a medical doctor, and you don't know that we're Homo sapiens.
Homo sapiens died out.
Homo sapiens died out 500,000 years ago. What are we?
I mean, here's the thing: it's one thing for some regular person, or I don't know, even for a public speaker to make some of these mistakes when it comes to the pronunciation, or when it comes to these facts. You could say maybe he misspoke. I don't know, whatever it is. But for a guy who is like, I'm a medical doctor, I'm a scientist, I know what I'm talking about. I would tell you now. And then he cannot pronounce these things. He says completely wrong words that have nothing to do with each other, and then says that Homo sapiens died 500,000 years ago. It's just wild.
And look at his audience here. How many people in this audience are thinking? No, again, anyone who, a lot of this stuff, most people don't know. Some of this should be fairly common knowledge, like we're Homo sapiens. That should be fairly common knowledge. But in this audience, in his crowd of Muslims audience, how many of them are thinking, wow, what an idiot this guy is. Everything he's saying is completely false. Like he cannot utter a sentence without getting something wrong, without making an obvious factual blunder. How many are thinking that? Zero.
I will bet that the audience clapped and was very happy about this.
Yeah, they're thinking, "Oh my goodness, how can one man know about the Kalipatros Islands and the death sentence of Galileo and the birds pecking at the niches?" And everyone who knows what he's talking about is going, are you for real? Is this like a parody or something like that? Welcome to Dawa, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Dawa.
Sapiens did not die out 500,000 years ago. You and I, and even Zakir Naik, are Homo sapiens.
And even Zakir Naik.
Then came the Neanderthal man.
According to evolutionary theory, Neanderthal man was...
Wow, man.
Wait, so Homo sapiens died out, and then came the Neanderthals. Homo sapiens died out, then came the Neanderthals. So we descended from Neanderthals? Well.
On the direct line to modern man, but an Ice Age offshoot.
The Neanderthal man. We died 100 to 40,000 years ago.
Neanderthal man went extinct 30,000 years ago, not 100 to 40,000 years ago.
Then came the fourth stage, the Cro-Magnon.
Cro-Magnon man is the same thing as Homo sapiens, which Naik had mentioned as a different earlier species.
There is no link at all between these stages.
Actually, evolutionary biologists have found many examples of what they claim to be links between these stages. For example, Homo habilis,
that's not the
Homo ergaster, and Homo heidelbergensis.
If you know of Sir Albert Georgi, who got the Nobel Prize for inventing the vitamin C.
Georgi didn't invent vitamin C.
He invented vitamin C.
He invented vitamin C. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, there was no vitamin C. And then Jordy came along and...
Well, thank you, Jordy. Thank you, man.
And he said, "Hey, let's invent vitamin C and inject it into oranges, and that way people will have vitamin C and not get scurvy all the time."
Wow, thank you, man. Wow, what a great man. He thought of this all by himself. Wow,
powerful. Yeah. So again, he says certain things where it's like, okay, he's massacring this name, but again, maybe he learned this in a different language and so on. He's trying to transliterate himself on the fly. But the other things, he doesn't know what Homo sapiens are. He thinks this guy invented vitamin C. It's like, you're a doctor. I don't put it this way. I don't believe him. If he lied about everything else, I got to see those credentials, ladies and gentlemen.
That one video where he goes, "There's a scientific
and there's a scientific thing. There's a scientific thing.
Yeah, and
you eat pig, you behave like pig. You eat pig, you behave like pig."
He does the very same thing here. He stops, he thinks of the word to say, and then he says a completely weird word. He, instead of discovering, he says inventing. And you can't invent vitamin C.
Oh boy. And again, it doesn't matter. Bren says he invented oranges. And then he invented the orange.
For inventing the vitamin C.
Georgi didn't invent vitamin C, he discovered it. Vitamin C is a naturally occurring substance that doesn't need to be invented.
He wrote a book, The Crazy Ape and Man, against Darwin's theory.
Albert said Georgi's book was not called The Crazy Ape and Man, but simply The Crazy Ape, and it was not a refutation of evolution, but a sociological commentary.
If you know about Rupert Albert, This person wrote a new theory of evolution against Darwin's theory.
Who is Rupert Salbert? I can find no trace of anybody with that name.
From the apes. If you know of Sir Frank Salisbury, you are the biologist.
Naik quotes one unknown person after another. Who is Sir Frank Salisbury? Again, vigorous searching can find no trace of anybody with that name. But to give Naik the benefit of the doubt, this will not be counted as a factual error.
If you know about white meat, Sir White Meat.
White meat? Who is Sir White Meat? For the fourth time, no trace can be found of anybody.
Sounds like a porn star or something. What was Zakir Naik watching before this one? Before he stepped up on stage? Oh boy! Oh boy! Here we go.
Sir White Meat.
Mark. Hey, I'm Sir White Meat here to fix your cable. What the heck is wrong with this guy? You people got dirty minds out there. I couldn't help it though. That's what. Mark McFlounder says, always respect the science of your elders. Matt, verse 39. notice this is
the Book of Council of Nicaea.
Yeah, it's like, why do we keep bringing this stuff up from Sneeko and stuff like that? There's a reason, guys. There's a reason. It's like sloppiness and getting everything wrong. Oh, that's like parallel to dissocial psychopathy, where this behavior is adaptive, right? Psychopathic behavior is adaptive, and so it becomes more and more common. Well, in the Dawa community, like just spouting things that are complete nonsense, but doing so with confidence, as if you act like you know what you're saying. That's what is prized and valued, and so that's why you see it, even from brand new popular converts like Sneeko. Matt, verse 39, powerful.
With this name.
At lower levels, an amoeba, at lower species level, amoeba can change to paramecia.
He just said an amoeba can change to paramecia.
I don't understand. Hard for me to wrap my mind around. Like what collection of information does this guy actually have on his mind when he talks about these things and acts like he's an expert in them? Like, who is he referring to when he talks about Sir White Meat?
He just sounds like a guy who took a biology class when he was in high school or something like that, and just, loose memories of various fragments that I've heard. Let me just say it all like I know what I'm talking about.
I want to start a campaign on the search for Sir White Meat. Who is Sir White Meat? Who is he referring to? I'm really wondering.
John here says, David and AP, I saw Ali Dawa doing Dawa in real life today. It was so funny. He accosted these two teenage girls who looked horrified. That sounds like Ali Dawa.
Yeah.
That definitely sounds like Ali Dawa.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as paramecia. Perhaps he means paramecium, but the evolutionary change of an amoeba to a paramecium is far more dramatic biologically than the relatively small biological difference between apes and humans.
According to Francis Crick, who's authority in this field.
Francis Crick. Nabil's giving him the benefit of the doubt, saying he's referring to Francis Crick here. So one of the co-discoverers of DNA, well, the shape of DNA.
He said it is unimaginable.
There is no such person as Francis Crick. Naik probably means Francis Crick, the co-discoverer of DNA. Francis Crick believes fully in evolution.
This is boy! I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find a transcript or something, an article of, if anyone put together all of the stuff that he says here,
so
wrote them down, and actually, yeah,